Guys, good evening and welcome to the very first episode of the Footy Visionaries podcast. Thank you. That was the weakest intro I can think about, but anyway, here we go. I'm just gonna start introducing all the guests. Starting with the other gentleman wearing a lovely Man United top, lovely hair, glasses, clinical striker sometimes. We've got Khush.
Lovely to meet you all. I'm looking forward to talking on this podcast. I'm ready to go and debate.
Fair play, fair play. Up ahead now. I don't know if it's up on your screen or not. Whatever. We've got the bald clarinet. The midfielder, the midfielder turned goalkeeper extraordinaire. Rich Murlock, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm alright, mate. I'm looking forward to getting started. And hopefully I don't make a prat of myself, but there you go.
And you cannot see him on the screen, but he's got a lovely voice, and you recognize it from some of his songs, which I'm sure he will point out later. I didn't know he was an artist until today. He's JJ. Can't see his face, but I'm sure you can hear his voice. JJ, how you doing, mate?
Evening, everyone. Yeah, really thrilled to be part of it. Nice one. Looking forward to also debating Khush and going toe-to-toe with the United fans. Gunners!
Get out of there, man.
Already we've started. By the way, if I haven't mentioned this, JJ is a Gooner fan, so I mean, obviously going to have this debate. All right, so starting off, we're just going to start off with Khush. How do you feel about Man United's preseason?
I think in regards to Man United's preseason, it's been really well. I think in terms of the signings as well, it's addressed certain situations and scenarios where we've lacked in the previous season. Of course, we had that awful season. I don't think anyone can debate that. In terms of Man United, we should be up there. But in the past, 10 years post Fergie, we haven't. It's evident that we haven't. And that all came to a head in last season when we finished the lowest we have in maybe 64 years. In regards to our signings, we've got our two tens now in Cunha and Mbeumo, who last season won the top 10 for conversions. And now we've got one of the hottest prospects, strikers in Benjamin Sesko, who's from my research has got the most goals for any under, I think, 23s. I think there is places where we can improve, but from what we've seen with the Ruben Amorim system, those players are very complementary to that. Because if you look at Cunha in the last season, he played in a similar system for Wolves, and so did Mbeumo in certain situations for Brentford. And now you have Sesko, who, with RB Leipzig, was able to attack that area and was able to link up play in a similar situation. I think we're going to do better this season. In terms of preseason, we've shown that we can do better. But there's definitely places to improve, such as our midfield and goalkeeping.
Well, JJ, so you guys were going for Sesko.
Yeah.
Apparently you went for Gyökeres, who I wanted. But anyway, fair. Who do you think is a better signing, Gyökeres or Sesko? In terms of striking? And don't be biased because it's an Arsenal signing, whatever.
No, Joe. No. Being in all seriousness, I think both clubs have done signed the best striker for what they needed. Sesko, who the reason why Arsenal didn't want to break the bank was because he's a prospect player. He's going to be brilliant and at the finished article in another 2, 3, maybe 4 years. One would like to think on Man United that in that time that is probably going to be what they need to finally get themselves back into a place where they can challenge. So fingers crossed for Man United, they tie up and meet at the end. But the Man United signings, I think Sesko's going to be brilliant. I think they've signed 3 great attacking players. I wonder whether that was the puzzle pieces that they necessarily needed. To be fair, your squad last season, Amorim's committed to the 3-4-3 formation. Last season it wasn't working, and he received criticism for that. It's probably his biggest one. But now it looks like you're actually able to use that system and actually get some results out of it. So I'm pleased in that respect. I think Sesko's good, and I think Gyökeres to Arsenal is good. We need a striker now.
And it's Gyökeres, that strike, I mean, he scored a beautiful goal today, by the way. That header was fantastic. I mean, I wanted him at United because he worked with Amorim and all that. So it would have been easy for him to fit into the Amorim system. So, what do you think? Do you think, for Arsenal, he's that finished article? Because I think he is, personally.
Can I quickly interject and say something about Gyökeres in terms of any Portuguese striker in general. If you look at the past Portuguese strikers that have come to the Premier League, they haven't done too well. So with Gyökeres, you need to put an asterisk on it because sure, he scored a bunch of goals last season. We can't take that away from him, but the Premier League's a different beast. It is a completely different beast. There's a reason why it's the best league in the world. This is why that certain attackers, certain defenders that have been very prominent in their own leagues have struggled in the Premier League. For example, let me give you an example. Darwin Núñez, who came to the Premier League from Benfica after having a great season with Benfica, two seasons to be fair, and he didn't do well. So, and that's been the case for previous Portuguese strikers who have come to the Premier League. I think the last one that probably did well was probably Ronaldo.
But then you
Rich,
can
what do you
argue
think of
Gyökeres has
that?
played in the English environment before.
He's played in the English environment. He played for Brighton for 4 years and didn't do anything. He went to, I think he went on loan afterwards and didn't do anything. He then went to Coventry on loan for a season and didn't do anything. Only he started to do things when that move became permanent. And then he went to Sporting a season later. So is there continuity in terms of will he continue that?
I hear what Khush is saying. I hear what he's saying in respect to Portuguese strikers not doing it in the league. I just think, I think it's irrelevant. Like each individual is responsible for their own growth, and also players develop at different times. Jamie Vardy was languishing in the lower leagues of English football, and then went to Leicester and won a Premier League title. You know, I have to say the jury's out on Gyökeres. I've only seen him for a few of the pre-seasons games. He hasn't trained over the summer with Sporting. He's not fit. But I had an asterisk over his head as well because we don't know if he's going to finish. He might be another Højlund. He might be another the striker that Khush just mentioned a moment ago. But he has played in England. Thank you, Núñez. He has played in England. He did start to do the business with Coventry. He's excelled at Sporting, and I think if he manages to get up to speed, he could be really good for us. But the jury is still out. We don't know. I just don't know if we can really ever go on the stats of other people who have followed from a different league on the continent.
Well, what do you think, Rich? Gyökeres, is it the answer for Arsenal? Yeah, yes or no? Because, like, on the one hand, there's this Portuguese striker curse thing, apparently. But on the other hand, if you look at him in the Champions League, he's been great. I personally think he's a finished article, or rather, he's an article who's ready to actually be that main striker for any big team. But Khush seems to think that, Portuguese league strikers are not that clinical in the Premier League.
No, I think he'll do quite well in the league because to me, he just seems like a complete striker. And I think with the Arsenal setup, he will be exactly what they need. I mean, as you already said, he's in the English. He's played in the Championship, which is arguably, probably one of the hardest leagues to get out of. Anyway, and he got that big move, and he's had Champions League experience as well, and he has banged them in. I mean, what is it? Did they beat Man City 5-3 or something like that? And he scored a hat trick, I think it was.
He can do the business for sure.
Yeah, I think he'd do better than Sesko. I think coming from Leipzig. Who else came from? Didn't Timo Werner come from Leipzig to Chelsea?
Yeah.
And then, he was banging them in for Leipzig. He comes to the Premier League and can't handle it. But again, they are different players. It just all depends whether he can handle the pressure that Man U have. Arsenal are a very good team, but I don't think they have the pressures that Man U have. And what is he, 22? Isn't he?
Who's Sesko?
Yeah, Sesko, yeah.
Yeah, 22.
As a 22-year-old coming to a team where he's going to be... They're basically building a team around him, aren't they? Man U are. Is he going to be good enough, or is he going to be able to handle that pressure? Because at the end of the day, you still have the same back three, back four, same keeper. Your midfield's more or less the same. It's only the front three you've changed. So is he going to be able to handle the lead?
Højlund.
I think it'd be good competition for him.
I actually feel bad for him as well because I think when you look at Højlund, many people would go against me, especially Khush. But I think Højlund was just thrown in the deep end, legitimately. He was thrown into a team which was not even creating for him, and then he's a young striker. You've got the team is not creating for you. You have no chance. You literally have no hope, and I think that's what happened to Højlund. But now there's a striker who's his same age, who is now gonna take the number 9 jersey, obviously, because now he's being literally pushed out of the door. Like if you saw the reports today, apparently, United have told him do an initial loan, then you'll be sold later or whatever. So I mean, I feel sorry for Højlund, but at the same time,
I
kinda
agree,
excited for
Josh. That's
Sesko.
why I feel sorry for him.
I think Sesko's ceiling is much more higher than Højlund's in terms of, I would have to say, the height. He's been mentioned in the same conversation as like Haaland, as these other big strikers that have come through, and there's a reason for that. He has done it wherever he's gone, and in terms of our directorship, there's a reason why our recruitment director, what's it called, Christopher Vivell, has taken him for every single club he's gone to. He will be that person, and he's already got the attributes to be that person. It's to see if he's got that ego, like the Zlatan ego, to take on the Premier League.
Yeah.
All right.
You're right as well. I mean, because United have gone the right way. I mean, it looks like some other signings. You're definitely going for the future. Because you signed a Hungarian keeper called Enzo, who looks he's a forward, who looks quite decent. And also you got another keeper. You got a defender called Diego from a Paraguayan club.
Yeah, Diego
Like,
Leon.
they're both they're like 17, 18. So we are looking for the future. So I think you're taking the right steps. It's just whether they'll gel together is the next question.
That's
Actually,
true.
that brings us into like a perfect segment. If we look at Manchester United's transfer window now, how would you rate it out of 10? Personally, for me, I would rate it like a 6 out of 10, only because we got about 3 of the 5 positions that we need, which is actually better than what I thought it would get. I thought it would end with Cunha and Bemo only. So to get Sesko was a bit of, I didn't see that out there. I still think we need like a goalkeeper and a midfielder, but 6 out of 10 for me. I mean, 3 out of 5 signings, not too bad. How would you rate Man United's, considering we finished 15th last season, and now we're trying to push on, how would you rate the transfer window so far?
I would say United's transfer window, I'll give it a 7. We've addressed our attacking problems, and last season we only scored 43 goals compared to our front 3 at the moment, which have altogether scored 44 goals last season. So we've definitely addressed the part of our squad that's been a problem. I think I don't know if it's just rumors, but apparently we've been linked to Donnarumma. That might be a bit out there. PSG are happy to let him leave because they've just signed a new goalkeeper from Lille. I think apparently their asking price is like 30 million, which is a bit of a bargain because, but to be fair, Donnarumma's on his last year of his contract.
I think it's funny how you compare it. If you compare last season's transfer window, where everyone was hyped up with especially it was West Ham's and Man U's transfer window. I would think we both bought about 5 or 6 players each, probably more. Everyone was dead excited. This season, I think you've done very well attacking wise, but it's still your defense. The formation that he wants to play, you still don't have the players for it. But I will say a compliment to Man U because you haven't got Champions League football, you haven't got European football, but it just still proves to the club how people still want to play for them because they've pinched players off other Champions League clubs, and you're not even competing in them sort of competitions. So it's actually still a credit that you still have that appeal, that attractiveness, even without the European football. But I give it about a 6 or 7. I would.
What do you think of West Ham's transfer window?
I think that I think we've done well. We got players in we needed, but as always, we struggle with striker. We can never seem to get the striker we want. I still saw the argument: why didn't we pay the extra 5 million last year for John Duran? Like if we played that, we had a 21. He's at Fenerbahce now. He went to Saudi, didn't want him, so he's out loan at Fenerbahce. I think we've covered very good positions, and I think that, especially with the Paqueta case, that being squashed now, that might open a bit more money for us. But we shot ourselves in the foot by saying we need money. We need to sell players to buy players. I think as soon as a club says that, they ruin it for themselves.
What do you think is going to happen to your season, though? Because I think that West Ham is one of the teams that are really kind of in place, like where they're going to finish in terms of how they're going to go about the Premier League, everything else. I can't even properly place. I mean, you've got Bowen, and is Pocket a thing? I'm not sure.
He is.
Oh,
Do you know who's really impressed me with West Ham is what's it called, Malik Diouf,
the left back.
the left back.
Yeah.
He's really impressed me in terms of how he's been playing. I was watching him against United in the summer series, and he looks really on it. And he was causing problems on his side before he got taken off. I think he was very, very good in that sense.
I think he's very good. I think he's only like 20, 22. I think we got him from a Slavia Prague or something like that. I think he'd be very good for Premier League, but I think if he has a good season, he'll be gone at the end of the season.
Would you call West Ham like a selling club?
I think I think we got appeal, but I don't. We just haven't got the financial backing. Like if a team like Chelsea, Man U come calling, our players are going to go. They're not stupid. Like I think we were paying Declan Rice something like 80 grand a week.
Yeah.
At one point, or we don't give them good wages, but we expect them to pay for the club. And now it's not really a loyalty system anymore, is it? It's who pays the most.
Actually, I wouldn't call West Ham a selling club, to be fair, because I think now we have a different definition of what a selling club is. I think if you look at clubs like Brighton, that's your proper definition of a selling club. They bring in a club, they develop into the ranks, and then they literally just almost exist. Not being respectful, of course, to Brighton fans and all that, but I feel like with Brighton, it's that stepping stone where like you go to Brighton at a certain level, you play, you step up, and then you're gonna go to another team. Like look at just their central midfield department. They've had players coming in and going, literally like that. For example, they had Caicedo. He came in after, I forgot who the previous central midfielder was. Caicedo was a replacement. Caicedo left, and then they got Baleba, who was a replacement. Now he's rumored to be leaving to United. I think
Basuma, wasn't it? I think it was.
Yeah, it was Basuma.
He went to Tottenham, didn't he?
It was Basuma, Tottenham, then replacement Caicedo. Caicedo came, Chelsea, replacement Baleba. Baleba came. Man U is coming in for him, /Chelsea, /City. Man U City are going for him. So I think that's a proper selling club. With West Ham, I think it's a bit more of a.
To be fair to West Ham, they have got some good like free transfers in, like Kyle Walker-Peters, Callum Wilson. They've got, maybe Kyle Walker-Peters would be the better option of those two in terms of like being more happy with, because he's still a young player. He's still got a lot to go ahead of him. But as Rich said, once a big club goes for you, they're not thinking, oh, I'm going to stay at West Ham, or I'm going to stay at this club or Brighton. They're going to look at their next step forward.
I'll pass over to JJ in a second, but even with them two players there, Kyle Walker-Peters was meant to go to Besiktas before he came to us, and he only didn't go there because he wanted to delay the his medical, and Besiktas were like, not a chance, so he came to us. Same with Callum Wilson, only came to us because no one else wanted him.
At that, true, no one else wanted him, but don't you think he is actually one of the better options now? Because like I look at Callum Wilson and his injuries are a problem. That's let's put it out there. Like his injury record is horrendous. But on his day, I think he's still one of the top strikers in the Premier League. Like on his actual day, when he's actually fit, I think he can still do a job.
But again, why would you?
Yeah,
I think
Callum
that
Wilson's
you might
still
have Kim
got stuff to
Antonio.
give.
He's fitter.
Mm.
Go on, JJ.
Go on, JJ.
Tricky for Antonio, just because after his injury, I didn't know if it was made public, just the extent of how his recovery was going, if he'd ever be able to be as strong as he once was. But I also have sympathy for West Ham because, you know, Callum Wilson on his day is brilliant, but strikers are in short supply. Every club wants to get a decent striker, and we're at, maybe even in this era, that it's the hardest position to fill. We don't have Thierry Henry's or Louis Garcia's, Morientes, Van Nistelrooy's. We just don't have these types of players anymore. It's one of the reasons why I felt about Højlund. I think if he'd have had a bit of experience with him and we could learn off in training every day, I think it would have done him the world of good. But he wasn't afforded that comfort. So West Ham, they had a bad year last year, and I do worry for them this season. Sorry, Rich. I hope you guys get out of it. I have a fondness for West Ham, but if they don't get it together, they could be slipping down into the Championship.
Actually,
I disagree, but
last season,
I disagree.
Do you think Lopetegui could have done a better job? Because I think He was hung up by a bit.
God no.
So
God,
with
no.
with J-Lo or Logotevi, whatever you want to call it, there's a lot of speculation from the fans, and a lot of pundits were basically saying like they think it was just the chairman's way of going to the West Ham fans, be like, you wanted Spanish football, you wanted tiki-taka, here you go. Here's someone with Premier League experience. He had like 3 or 4 months at Wolves or something like that,
Do you think
just to like
so?
shut the fans up. What's that?
You think that was a gesture, like to the fans, just to say this is the style of play you want, so this is what you'll get?
I wouldn't put it past the chairman. I think they would
Wow.
have. I think they're like, but again, it's conspiracy, it's speculation, whether it's true or not. I don't know. I think it is just to be like, you wanted this, you've got it. It hasn't worked. Oh, let's get someone back in who plays the West Ham way.
In my opinion, I don't rate Julian Lopetegui at all. Like he inherited a fairly good Wolves side when he first came, and he completely flopped. He almost got them. He wasn't he in the relegation zone at one point with this Wolves squad, and he
And
still couldn't.
Gary O'Neill came in, I think.
And Gary O'Neill came in and saved the whole thing. Then he went. Then I'm surprised he got the West Ham job, and when he did, the same thing happened again. Like his football does not work in the Premier League. He
Yeah,
should
they
go
imploded.
to. They completely imploded. He should go to the. He should go back to La Liga. He needs to go to a team like a lower team. Like he does need to go back to La Liga because his football does not work in the Premier League. It won't work in Italy. It won't work in Germany. It won't. I don't rate him at all. He won't work in France either. And that's a farmers league.
Damn, that's a bit scathing. But yeah, I think, to be fair, I think I had hope for him, to be fair, when he first joined the Wolves and all that. I actually had hope. I was thinking, because I watched some of the matches in his previous teams, and I thought, oh, no, like Wolves are going to be rock and roll. Then he went to West Ham. I was thinking he can, implement his style, but anyway, that failed. One thing I've got though, so now we've got the traditional top six teams, and we now have what looks like the top three, what you call the front three for every team. So, for example, Liverpool have now got Salah, Ekitike, and Gakpo. City have got Mamouche, Haaland, and Shirkri, ostensibly. Arsenal have got Martinelli, Gyökeres, and Saka. United have got Cunha, Sesko, Mbeumo. Chelsea have got Palmer, Pedro, and Neto. Which of these teams have the best front three now? Like,
Pedro.
yeah, so we've got Joao Pedro from Brighton, number
Oh
9.
yes. Sorry, I was thinking
Yeah.
Pedro. Pedro, the Spanish guy.
Yes, come
They
back
still
from Roma,
have
whoever
him?
he is now.
So yeah, we have those front threes, and then there's potentially other front threes I'm missing out. But these are like the most prolific in terms of names at the moment.
Yeah.
Which of these do you guys think has the most lethal front three out of all these three?
I would say
Can't-
I
Sorry,
would say
Chris.
Man City, but they don't use them to their full potential. That's my argument.
Do you think it's
Yeah,
because of the
I
system?
agree. I agree.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, you can't discount Man City at all in terms of that front three. In terms of like firepower in general, you can't discount that. I rate, even though he plays for City now, and even though he says he wants to kill Man United, I rate Ray in Turkey. Even though he's got his disciplinary problems, if you saw that game against United Leon, he tore it up. I wanted him to come to United personally. Might be a bit skeptical from other United fans who don't want him. He has that flair that potentially can change games. But then you have Marmouche, and then you have Haaland as well. And Haaland, you're going to guarantee about 25 goals a season, if that. At the same time, you can't discount Liverpool. But again, Hugo Ekitike, 80 million euros. So I don't know how much that is in pounds. He's only had
65 mil, yeah.
65 mil.
About 65 mil, yeah.
Is he worth that? I don't think so. He's only had one breakout season, so let's see what happens. And then there's United.
I'm actually gonna go left field. I mean, I love United's front three, by the way. Don't get me wrong, because I think, like Khush was saying earlier, we had no goals. So I was checking us that earlier, and the whole United team last season scored 44 goals. And then this new front three of ours in league games last season. So that means Cunha and Mbeumo in the Premier League, and then Sesko in the Bundesliga. They have 48 goals. So I'm excited about that. Potentially lethal front three. But I actually think the Chelsea front three actually is the most potent one of them all. Because I think, out of all three of them, actually work well as a unit compared to all of them. If you look
They're
at
very
Chelsea's the front three
exactly,
I'm
like,
most excited to see.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Exactly.
I agree with you, Josh. Cole Palmer seems to have already made a connection with João Pedro and the other winger as well. They link up. They've got some nice plays going. I'm excited to see them. I think everyone's front three, as you mentioned, has got a star-studded talisman, has then got a very good player, and then a player with a question mark. I think Saka's a talisman. Gyökeres could be very good. I think the question mark for Arsenal, it kills me, it's Martinelli. He showed so much promise and he had so much potential a few years ago. But where we're at now, I can sense Arsenal fans are getting annoyed and getting tired because he hasn't actually reached the potential that it looked like he was going to get. He kind of still keeps his head down. Maybe his final ball isn't quite right. And our left side suffers because we don't have as much fluidity and composure as what we do on the right. With Man United, I think I think Cunha is going to be your talisman. Sesko is the one. I'm not convinced Mbeumo is a talismanic game changer. I don't know whether he's going to be able to be the difference maker. But I think that's the same for everyone. I think Mo Salah is the talisman. Ekitike is really good. I have questions about Gakpo. I'm not sure if he's actually the real article or good enough to be in the same bracket as some of these other strikers that we're talking about. I'm keen to see Chelsea.
But having said that, do you think that Gakpo will now benefit from Diaz leaving? Because now that left wing is open and Gakpo can play left wing as well. And even with Gakpo, one thing I would say is no matter how much game time he got, he was always a threat. He'd always come in and always change the game for Liverpool, in my opinion. I mean, Salah's always there, yes. But then Gakpo...
He's got no competition.
Exactly. So I think Gakpo on the left wing actually is going to create some, a different kind of play compared to what Diaz had, I think.
Could do.
Yeah, fair.
Maybe. I think my interesting one is about both of Man U and Arsenal. It's like you're saying that Arsenal with Martinelli on the left. What about Madueku on the left? Because he can play there. But
I'd
then
like
you've
to see
also
it.
got. Oh, yeah. It's
Thing is with
weird. I mean,
Madueke,
he played.
Sorry.
Look on.
No, you go ahead. I'll say after.
I'm going to say Madueku played 90% of his games on the right hand side for Chelsea.
Yeah,
But I think they're going to be used for left winger because he's not replacing Saka.
absolutely
with
right. Go on,
Madueke,
Khush.
though, with Madueke, though, when he was playing at Chelsea, he only played on the left 3 times.
Mm.
So would you really want him in that spot?
Yeah, it's a
You give him more of a
It's
go
a
for it.
£60 million investment for a punt. I hear you. He's made his trade as a right winger, but he seems to be confident that he can do it. He's been deployed there before. If he can play that position, I love Gabby Martinelli, and I do wonder if that change should be made, and that should be our starting three. Funnily enough, boys, I can see on the opening day of the season, I can see United beating us.
I mean, obviously.
We'll get back to that.
My
I'm
other one
saying,
with-
but yeah, that can actually go sideways, but we'll come back to that. All right, so talking about Liverpool, they're going for Isak. They've got Ekitike already. Should they still go for Isak? What's up with that?
I think they should, but were they? No.
I think the asking price for Newcastle
We've
is
got an
so
80 million
high.
euro striker in Ekitike. Why Isak again?
And to be fair, Newcastle asking for 150 million.
Liverpool can afford it.
I don't think they're going to get him. I think Newcastle have said to Isak that this deal's not going to happen. We can't bring anybody in. They need 2 strikers. He's going to have to sit and wait for a year. If he signs a contract extension, gets some more wages, gets the wages higher, I think he's on something like 150 grand a week. It's amazing money. It's not top striker money. Give him 250 grand a week, extend his contract, get the fee for him next year and send him on his way. If he doesn't want to play for, especially the Geordies, the Newcastle fans, it's so siege mentality. They're such a unit. They won't want someone whose head's been turned. And I feel like the waters have been muddied now.
I agree, and I also think that going back onto our questions earlier about feeder clubs or stepping stone clubs, I think Newcastle are that sort of club.
Really?
Yeah,
I do
I really
too.
do, because you can. I mean, you can all a lot of people say Newcastle a big club, but I think that they're a big club in Newcastle. Like,
Mm.
if you the only people who really support Newcastle or people from Newcastle, like you don't go to London and go, oh, who do you support? Newcastle. You either a London team or United. And I
They're a
think that
huge club, Rich.
yeah, I don't think
No,
I
no,
think they're a
no,
huge club where
no,
they are.
You guys are gonna get a lot of hate from the Newcastle fans, but I
no.
don't know.
I don't mind it.
Do you know what? I
I
think
bring it.
what this transfer season has proved for me is that it's the traditional top six still got that pull. Like
Mm.
every single target that Newcastle went for, Man United won in the end of the day. So I
It's not even United that's won it. So João Pedro, Chelsea won it.
and that
And
is fair.
Burmo, Cunha. So I'm just letting off United ones, but they're Ekitike as well.
Mm.
Newcastle won it. It gets to that point: is Newcastle that big club, or are they looked at a club that's marred by what happened during the Ashley era, where they were seen as
Ooh,
a
yeah.
bad club?
I think I know what you're saying. There, I think that they're a very good club to go to because their fans are passionate. They're loved by their fans. What 50,000 seater stadium? When you go there, the atmosphere is electric. But ultimately, like, who wants to live up north? I mean, I've lived up there. I've lived up in Alnwick, so I know what it's like up there. Beautiful part of the country. But if you are like a pro football player, like,
It's
and
freezing.
yeah, you think you got someone like, Sesko come from Germany, lovely and hot. Oh, should we go live in Newcastle for a bit? Absolutely not.
I
I
mean,
want to go and
Yeah,
live down in
you
London.
can
I live in
argue that
Manchester.
Merseyside and Manchester gets as cold.
it's not as bad. It's not as bad.
But it's nicer. It's more of a.
Yeah.
It's closer to London to start off with.
Yeah.
It's got more. It's got. I was about its history. But that's completely wrong. But the club's got more history. Man United's got more history. But I just think it's more to do up there. But in
Yeah.
Manchester, I just think it's got more appeal. That's what I'm trying to say.
It
Than
breaks my
Newcastle.
heart to say it, but Newcastle, like every other club in the league, the top six are just so far and away now because of the rise. Not every team can be super famous, and it's been the top six most successful clubs in this past decade where football has erupted over the world, and the legacy clubs will always hold the cards, and I can't see it ever changing. Man City, I think, were lightning in a bottle, that they caught it at a time when the rules obviously didn't penalise them for it, and they were able to get success, consistent success and sustained success with Mancini, with Pellegrini, and then when Pep Guardiola came, then they got the biggest the biggest box office draw in the world. I can't see it happening again, guys.
I actually have something that I think will make it happen. So hear me out. So City, you were right. City caught it at a time where they could manipulate it, but I think that Newcastle is too loyal. And here's what I'm saying. So look at City. When City were going through that rebuilding phase, they were doing whatever. Even if the managers would finish in the top four, whatever, they'd get sacked because they wanted immediate success, right? Until they got Pep, and then Pep took them from, if they were like a 6 out of 10 to like an 8 out of 10 in terms of like popularity. I think that's what they need to do. Like, I don't think, and as much as I love Eddie Howe, and I actually think Eddie Howe should be the next English manager, period. I think they need to fire Eddie Howe and get a box office manager who's going to actually help attract the clubs. I'll give you an example. Not that's ever going to happen, but if they were to fire Eddie Howe and somehow get Zizou on board, I think you'd see like more players signed for Newcastle. Because I think it's about, at this point, they're not going to outdo any of the top six. So do something drastic to attract the players to you.
I've got a little bit of a rebuttal. Uh,
Oh, bring it up, bring it up, bring it up.
so if you look at City when they first got the Emirati ownership, they were at a point where they could spend what they wanted to spend before financial fair play came in. If you looked at how they bought their signings, it was players that are either not are known but not well known, or players that have got a point to prove. For example, got Aguero, known, great, was
Mm.
seen as a good player, but not that next step great player. So they brought him in, and they made him great. They had Yaya Toure, who got forced out by Pep, who needed a point to prove, and they brought him in. You had David Silva, who was a good player but not well known, so they brought him in. So in that sense, that's how they built up. But I'm going to go back to what Josh said about where City, if they were to finish in the top four, their manager gets sacked. To be fair, I don't believe that. They had Mancini, who stayed on for about 4 seasons, and he won in the Premier League. Then you had what's his name? Oh,
Pellegrini.
Pellegrini. He saw out to the end of his contract, and then they got Pep. So it's not like they sacked Mancini, they sacked Pellegrini, they let their contracts run down, and then they got
Because they
Pep.
start with Stuart Pearce, wasn't it?
Yeah,
They sacked
Stuart Pearce.
Yeah.
Wasn't Pellegrini sacked though?
No, he ran down his contract.
Oh, I was wondering. My bad.
But then if you look at Newcastle's situation, there's a debate about this where are their owners actually putting in the money into they're the richest club in the world, but are the owners actually really backing them in that sense? Because
I don't think they're allowed to spend it.
I think it comes down to PSR, because if you look at PSR now,
Yeah.
it's the top
Yeah.
six that are able to spend so much, and then everyone else is left with nothing really. And that
Even clubs that claim they have no money manage to spend like 130 mil.
exactly, and that's the Premier League's balloon payment. But the thing is,
I'm just winding you up.
it's a balloon payment in terms of teams that are coming up. If you look at Sunderland as well, Sunderland have basically done a Nottingham Forest and got rid of their entire squad and rebuilt it up with all these different players. You can't see that with Leeds. Leeds, to be fair, I think are going to stay up purely because they have the Red Bull backing. But Burnley, I don't think they're going to stay up.
No, I agree.
But with what Sunderland are doing in terms of rebuilding their entire squad, it's a very double-edged blade in terms of it can either work or it will just implode in their face like Luton Town, sorry.
But if it works, it can be like what do we call it? Like Brentford. Was it Brentford? No, not like
Nottingham Forest.
Forest almost revamped. They put a whole new 11, essentially. I think close to a whole new 11, and look where they are now.
Yeah,
But they bought about 23 players, didn't they, in total?
and
they bought about two
they
teams.
barely survived relegation that season as well.
Yeah.
That's insane. All right, so having looked at all that we've looked at so far, who's had the best transfer season, window rather, so far?
Tricky one, really, isn't it? I mean,
It is a tough one.
I think
Man City.
Arsenal have had the best window.
Of course you think that. Of course you think that.
No, I do. I think we finally managed to sort out the striker. We've got second. Every position is covered now in case there's an injury or need for rotation. He's brought in a goalkeeper, a second choice goalkeeper, who's for £5 million, I think, is an absolute steal. And I don't think Arsenal have any excuses now. You have to go and win it or accept that you're actually not as good as you think you are. I believe that we can be champions.
If Arsenal don't win anything next season, is Arteta under pressure?
I think he is. And I couldn't understand this question because for the longest time I was thinking to myself, of course he isn't under pressure. He's been in the Champions League consistently. He's finished second in the league for the past 3 years. The board must be in bliss with that. Like the same way that Arsene Wenger did. He made money. He made revenue. He kept them at the top in the upper echelons. How could you sack that?
Difference is Arsene Wenger actually won something.
However, you're right. You're right in what you say. Is what the problem could be is that the board lose trust that he is the man to bring them the top honours. I don't know whether boards and owners care enough about top honours to sacrifice an already good thing.
when does this process become stagnant, though?
Yeah. If Saliba goes to Real Madrid and the team starts to break down and contracts can't be renewed, then I would have to admit that we missed the window to really win the thing, which was maybe a year or two ago.
If you don't
Last
win
season.
anything and Arteta gets sacked, does he get in the same category as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
No.
No, actually, hang on here. So the last 4 seasons, 5 seasons, Arteta has been in charge. I think we have had a steady increase, right? Now you've got, for the last 2 seasons, everybody's saying, look, Arteta needs to actually have a striker to, do everything well to get to the top of the game or whatever. Now he does have a striker, like you're saying, and I think every position has now got 2 people behind. Like, you got the Brentford midfielder, you got the extra goalkeeper.
Oh God.
Your defense is sorted. Midfield attack, although I would argue your left wing still has much to be desired.
They're going for Eze though.
Which you might go for Eze
hope.
and you might get Eze. That'll be fantastic. So, realistically, you're going against a revitalized Liverpool squad who have gone out and broke the bank. You're going against City, who is looking to get back in it. And you're going against Chelsea, who's actually looking quite strong, to be fair. So, where do you think realistically Arsenal's going to land?
It's going to be a good season. You're right with everything that you've said. Man City will be coming back. Liverpool are the team to beat. I think if we can keep everyone fit... I hadn't even finished.
Oh, the drum rolls there. Just hear what you're saying. I'm just, I mean, my bad.
I love it. I think if we can keep everyone fit, no silly sending offs which break down the consistency of the team by having to rearrange again, not getting into a decent run of form together. If we can manage those things, I would like to see us up there in second and close to first. I think the problem is if we start to stagnate and finish around fourth this year, which is a genuine possibility, then question marks are going to be raised. Then Arteta could be gone.
Do you think that you've got enough cover if Gabriel or Saliba get injured again, though?
Facts.
I would have said no, but Mascara and Kivior's shows glimpses of being good enough. I don't think he's there yet. Mascara, for what I've seen of pre-season, is great. They're going to have to learn on the job. No, I can't imagine they're going to be as good as Saliba and Gabriel. They've been the best defence for the past 3 years in terms of XG conceding. No one's going to beat that. We just have to pray that injuries are going to happen to everyone. The games come thick and fast. Everybody gets them now more than ever before. Hopefully we've got enough.
Will you use that as an excuse when you don't win anything next season?
No. I mean, I'd love us to get Eze. However, I just think, what does that say for Ethan
Nah, I
Nwaneri?
actually think that,
I don't know if Emery's a left winger.
I don't know with this one. I feel like, yes, I think it's Arsenal's turn to actually try to win something. The only problem I have is Liverpool have gone out to secure it. I mean, for example, I think for most of the year, people didn't know what Liverpool's transfer strategy is going to be because their top 3 players, i.e. Trent, Virgil, and Salah, we didn't know what was going to happen to them. Trent is gone. Frimpong has come in. They've got Kirkes. They've now got, Wirtz,
Ritz.
like a midfielder, Ekitike, who's a finisher now. Potentially another new striker coming in. Diaz is gone, but Gakpo can fill on the left. So I think it's going to be interesting to go toe-to-toe. But I think it's about time that, Arsenal actually do challenge it. And I think for me, if Arsenal comes second, then fair fine. I think Arteta should stay. But I think he should now win something else. It's been a long time coming. I think he should win some more silverware now. At least one more trophy. Just to say, you know what, we're in there. Because look at all the big trophies now. Not a long time ago, but you used to have these trophies. The big teams did not really care too much about them, but they'd always win them. But now they want to win them. So I think they should win one.
Yeah. Needs a trophy this year for sure.
Yeah.
Going on what you said, Josh, in terms of like how you said that teams used to not play their strong squads and now they want to win anything. Does that have detriment over other like football pyramids?
I think now, a
Or does
little,
that-
because now you
Sorry.
I'll give you Man City and Liverpool, even Arsenal at some point as well. You've got these, and Chelsea, especially Chelsea. You've got these teams we've now got massive squads, especially if you look at Chelsea and Liverpool. They've got massive squads now where they can compete on multiple fronts without really feeling it until much later on in the game. Versus, so like, for example, Chelsea can rotate a whole 11 between games and they'll be fine. Essentially, if they're playing Sheffield Wednesday on the Thursday and then they're playing Liverpool on the Sunday, they can literally rotate the squad and boom, they have a strong squad for Liverpool, decent squad for Sheffield. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it does affect it because now you've got less chance of the David, quote unquote, winning the FA Cup or the League Cup or whatever it is. So it does affect it a little bit, I'd say. But at the
Yeah,
same
yeah, it's true.
game is game. Like if you got a trophy to win, you've got a trophy to win. If you've managed your finances well, you've got a good squad like Chelsea. Why not? You want to be England's best. You want to win all the trophies. So.
I think the last David to properly come out of it was Coventry in the FA Cup in that semi-final with United.
Yeah, that 3-3, that was a crazy one. I'll tell you, my heart wasn't my throat that day. That was just mental. That was mental. Like one of my friends made me apologize to a Coventry fan because of what we had done to them because he had fainted and then got to hospital. So yeah, it was.
Oh, God.
It was crazy. So yeah, but
Rich, do you have anything to say in regards to this?
Yeah, I just think it's the interesting one, isn't it? It's like you can have a bigger squad as you want, but I don't think it does matter to a certain extent. But I do think you get anomalies, like again, Crystal Palace winning the FA Cup last season. They've got pretty much their bare 11. So this argument about you got to have a massive club, I agree with for rotation, but it, clubs have proven you don't need a massive club to still win something. That's what I
Yeah.
found.
The
Even
beauty
like
of the
when
English
Wigan
league.
won it back in, when did Wigan win it? Back in 20,
Was it 2010?
and yeah, 2010. They
was that
won
like
it.
2 years after that?
Didn't
I'm not sure, but I
didn't
remember
Hull
that
win
season also
one
because they
by
got
beating
relegated
us?
and they won the FA Cup. So I was thinking a team.
Yeah, they
and
beat Man City in the final.
2013.
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
has proven that a championship, a club who is tiny, they can still win cups.
One team I do want to talk about, which is a bit of a dark horse, in my opinion, Spurs. Thomas Frank. How's that looking?
Okay. Um, I think I think the issue is that I don't you can have with Tottenham. I think you can have whatever manager you want in there, as long as David Levy's in charge. I don't think they're going to go anywhere. I think he holds that club back. Same with the Glaciers with United. Same with well, Liverpool owners are getting better now actually because they pumped all the money.
David Gold.
Again, I think they hold us back. He holds us back as well because he hasn't got the investment as other clubs do. But I think David Levy, I think he's bad for the club, personally. But Thomas Frank, good manager. Is he proven? Is he going to win the Premier League or trophy? Who knows? But
I
it's an
think
interesting pick.
I think with Spurs in general, they've done all right signings, I guess, in terms of Kudus and I don't know who else they've signed. In terms of their squad, if you looked at their preseason, it hasn't been really that good. I think one win against Arsenal, and the rest were draws and losses. They lost 4-0 to Bayern. And they're not laying off opportunities in terms of I think one game it was against I forgot who it was against, but they only registered one shot on target, and it's just one of those where are Spurs going to do a Spurs again, where they're just going to become that club that even though they won something recently, will they be that club that will just fade and be that laughing club that no one really cares about?
But do you think there's a difference because now with Ange, yeah, this open Spurs kind of game, you know what I mean, like the front foot pressing, high line kind of thing. Whereas now with Thomas Frank, you have almost the opposite, where it's all structured, make sure everything is tight, whatever, and then you create your chances only after making sure everything is tight, whatever. So they think that'll make a difference because a lot of people would say like Ange needed to adjust his game because he was just always, pushing high, leaving spaces or whatever. So do you think that's something they can benefit from? Given the players they have, if you look at the midfield as well, Basuma, Sarr and all that, like who can actually
I think yes, because Ange loved playing the high line last season. And if you look at Mickey van der Ven's injuries, they're mainly hamstring injuries because he was having to sprint 20, 30 yards back from the halfway line whenever they took the ball over. I think with their first season when they played Chelsea, they were down to 9 men and they were just still going, they were just throwing people forward. And you're like, you got to have a plan B. Your players cannot keep up that intensity, have that high line. Well, I think Thomas Frank will give them that solidarity at the back to be like, okay, we're pushing forward, but he will look after the players better. But then Ange, he was exciting. He was what fans want. Like you can't agree. Last season, Tottenham were just the best team to watch.
They were. They were box
Yeah.
office for sure. Box office for sure. I think it's gonna be interesting though, to be fair, because I don't know what Thomas Frank is gonna bring to Spurs, but like I said, I think it's like the Glazers with Daniel Levy as well. I think it's gonna be interesting. I don't know. All right. We might have 5 teams in the Champions League again. I'm not sure if we're gonna do, but if we do, who are the top 5? Without speaking in any order at the moment, and then we'll speak about order after that.
City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United, Arsenal. And I'm not in that order, but
City, Chelsea, Liverpool, United, and
Arsenal, Chelsea, and not in that order, but yeah.
fair.
I
I
think it would be. I think Liverpool win it this season. I think it's Liverpool's for the next couple of seasons. I would say.
I hate to hear that.
Yeah.
I hate to hear that.
I think I just think it's their time. Like you said, the signings, but I think Liverpool, for me, Liverpool win it. I think Arsenal, I think Champions League would be Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, and Chelsea again. I think Man U will possibly get Conference, maybe Europa League, but again, it depends. Depends how the players fit into the system.
Mm. What's your top 5, Josh?
I think the top 4 is sorted for me personally. So City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, they are going to be in that top 5 regardless. I think the first spot is open. I think United might have a chance of being in there, especially if we have like chemistry with our new signings and all that. Get the goals underway, we're good. Newcastle, definitely. You never know what you're going to get with them. And a potential outlier,
Hello.
i.e.,
Hello.
welcome back. Potentially an outlying team. Newcastle might do it again, especially who knows what they do this season. We are in with a shot. So that fifth spot, I'm going to say United because I'm a United fan, but I don't know, because I think for United, the part of United which actually worries me the most is the midfield. That midfield worries me a lot because we bought Cunha, Mbuemo, and Sisco now. So they're going to be the top 3, like regardless what they're at. Cunha's going to be that left attacking mid. Mbuemo's going to be that right attacking mid. Sisco's going to be the centre forward. So Bruno has now got to play in the pivot. And I love Bruno. Bruno's my favorite player of all time at the moment. Not of all time, but he's my favorite player right now. Like for United, last 5 seasons, hands down. 4 seasons? Hands down. My thing is, if we have to cover that midfield kind of run kind of thing, it's a little bit iffy. I'd have preferred Bruno to be in one of the 10 spots, and I'd prefer to actually have a proper midfield, because I would say one of the reasons we lost the Europa League final was because Bruno was playing in the midfield with Casemiro. I feel like if Ugarte had played with Bruno, for example, would have had a better job because Ugarte can cover, but that's just me. I don't know. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah,
JJ, what's your
JJ.
top 5?
Don't make me. Arsenal.
It doesn't have to be in order.
Yeah. Okay. Liverpool, City, Arsenal,
Don't panic.
Chelsea. I don't know. I think it's up for grabs. I think that last spot's up for grabs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Things I've got.
Who's going down this season?
Ooh, let me check which teams
Ooh.
are actually in the.
I was speaking about this with my mate the other day about this. I think Everton.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I think
I
Everton
think
will be
Leeds
one of
or
the teams to go down.
Sunderland stay up.
Yeah.
really? Wait,
So
hang on. Let's roll back to the Everton thing. Wait. So Everton have got Moyes again, right? Yes.
Yep.
And they're gonna go down.
Why is that?
So there's a few comments that Moyes made. He made it under Sunderland when he was manager of Sunderland. Okay, they were in a worse position, but before in pre-season he said Sunderland are not ready. We're in a relegation battle. I think maybe after the second game actually this was his last season with us at West Ham. He was like, we are not ready for this season, and I think we finish 16th, maybe 14th actually. Like
So
we
he's
won't be
got a
out.
good eye.
Yeah, and now he's staying with the Everton team that they're not ready for the season, and he's been slating Beto, whatever his name is, the striker. And if you look at their team, they bought Drew's what's his name, Chelsea centre mid, Henry, yeah, that geezer anyway from Chelsea. They bought him, but if you actually look at their team, they haven't really improved it. They lost Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
They haven't brought another striker in. They're playing off. You could argue most of their players are championship players, at best, and they've been flirting with relegation for far too long. And David Moyes, he always gets found out in his second or third season. The way he plays. So I think that, and also with the new stadium, I think the new stadium, West Ham were proving when we moved to our new stadium, we went from
Hard.
we went from a 35-seater stadium to a 62.5, and we struggled that season. And Everton move into their stadium, where it's got no history. We don't even really know what the atmosphere is going to be like yet, and clubs are going to go there and be like, "Well, this isn't Goodison Park anymore. This is wherever it is. Let's make it our
And don't
home."
forget,
sort of thing.
Rich, it needs to be paid for.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more, especially with transfers. I think it's going to be very hard for them.
An example of that is Arsenal, to be fair. When they moved into the Emirates, they had to sell off all their good players. And
Yeah,
they
every week
suffered.
dropped off like a stone.
They suffered. It's credit to Wenger that kept them up. It's credit to him. He wasn't given any resources after that stadium build. He had to get rid of Van Persie. He had to get rid of so many players. And it's a credit to him that he brought it up. And I'm not usually the type to say nice things about Arsenal, but they did in that era. It was their banter era, to be fair, but he helped them a long way. If they didn't have him, I think they would definitely have dropped further.
So
Inject it into my veins.
yeah. So, but for me, it's Everton, Burnley, and either Brentford or I reckon Sunderland for me. Especially if Brentford lose Visser to Newcastle, they will have no firepower.
Do you think Brentford's done a Southampton and got rid of too many players? They've
Yeah,
bitten off
definitely.
more than they could chew, and they just can't replace them because they got rid of Frank, and they've replaced him with the set piece coach. And they got rid of Mbermo. They're going to lose Wissa. They lost their captain. And if you look at their previous seasons, they lost Tony, they lost Raya. They're losing so many bits of players, and they're not replacing them.
Yeah, I think
they
their
lose
squad's
Flicken as well.
decimated now. But the whole thing about the set piece coach being the manager, like, these are still a Premier League club. He must have shown signs that he is capable of doing the job. Nobody would do that. Certainly not a teams that have millions of pounds operation. He must be capable of doing the job. My worry is more that he doesn't have the players for the squad now, like they've done at Southampton, and I think they are real contenders to go down.
Yeah, my worry is he's not actually managed players. You know what I mean? Like, it's never been his job to manage the players, to pick up morale, to do decision about the formation. All he has to do is manage set pieces and how it comes. So he knows how to set up players for certain scenarios, but not over a 90-minute period. Not like checking welfare and all that. Maybe he's been doing in the background, who knows? But then he's not been in the hot seat. And if you're starting it from the Premier League position, it's a bit iffy for me, to be fair.
I just
Worrying
hope he's
times
not.
for Brentford.
I just hope the manager's not talked a good game. 'Cause I remember when we had a manager, Avram Grant. I don't know if you guys remember him.
Yeah, I
I
remember.
remember Avram
Yeah,
Grant.
of
Yeah, I
course.
remember Avram
Chelsea
Grant.
buzz.
Yeah, yeah, he did okay at Chelsea. I think he won him a trophy, maybe the FA Cup.
And
He
then
came
he
to
got
West
sacked
Ham.
by
Won them like an
Roman.
FA Cup, yeah.
Yeah, and then he came to West Ham because he was talked to a game, got us relegated. So
Oh.
it's yeah, it's
I
like, oh
think
great.
for me as well, looking at the teams, Burnley, I love one of the reasons I love Burnley is because like I don't know if you guys know Dude Perfect. I think they're minority stakeholders now. So, but I think they're gonna go down.
They don't have the squad for it. They don't have the squad
Yeah.
at all. They're not going to have as worse a season as Southampton last season or like Derby, but they're not going to do well next season. They don't. Their team is basically a championship team at this point.
I think he's right.
In terms of my other
Actually,
team,
he's in Trafford as well.
they've lost Trafford. They haven't even.
Yeah.
He's on the City. I think that was a major blow for them. In terms of other two teams that are going to probably be relegated, I could see Brentford getting relegated because they've got rid of too many players and not replaced them, and they've just done what Southampton did. And the last team is definitely a throw up, but I would put Wolves in that. I would put Wolves in that. They've lost their main attacker, the person that went through it, like the ball went through all the time, and to lose that and not replace him is something that's going to affect them.
I think they're too structured a team for that. To be fair, I think that the current way they're doing their things is way too structured for me for them to go down.
But they've been playing
teams-
with relegation for like the past 2 seasons.
I know, but I think other teams have got more problems than they have. Like I said, if you look at Burnley, definitely, I don't see how they're going to be viably staying up. If you look at Brentford, they've lost their manager, they've lost the key player, and Buemo, they might lose Visa again. They've lost Norgard, they've lost too many puzzle pieces. So I think Brentford is going to go down.
Wilson does want to go. He's actually requested a transfer. He's pushing the transfer to Newcastle,
I think he'll get that.
and he will get that. And Brentford's asking for 30 mil, which is
Yeah, Brentford. I think Brentford are in real danger.
Yeah, Brentford. I think Brentford are going to go down for me. So Brentford, Burnley, the third team. I don't think Everton. I think potentially
I think
because
with Everton, I think Njai will get them through.
Moyes has a trick up his sleeve. To be fair,
I think Njai will get
I
them
believe
through.
in Moyes. Sorry, go ahead.
I think Njai will get them through their tough times because he's just got that little bit of magic in him.
Yeah, I also think Moyes has got a bag of tricks. Like I don't think Moyes is gonna just accept relegation.
Yeah, fair one. I disagree, but
I mean,
yeah.
he kept you guys up in a moment you guys were thinking gonna go down. I would say.
Yeah, because he had the first good season, and the second half of the season, we just capitulated. Like we were just like, let's just hang on by our teeth, sort of thing. But
Was
I
that
get your
not
point.
also to do with the lack of funding from the owners, Rich? Did he want players? Did he identify players?
I think Moyes' issue for us was yes, you're right. He identified players, but he would also he wanted a certain sort of player, and he would never get his first choice, which didn't help at all. But he'd always
No.
go for older players. So, and this is big issue we're in now because we probably got the second oldest team in the Premier League at the moment, and he just used to love the old players, and he could only trust players. So when fans are like, he is bad, he's like, no, but I trust him. But we're like, no, he's not good enough. Okay, we're fans, we're idiots. We like to think we know everything. We don't. He's a manager, he gets paid for the job. But I just think that I don't know. He's good for a couple of seasons, and after that, he's just not very well. So that's why I think they'll go down. But who's your third team then, Josh? Who do you think? I haven't said.
I said Burnley, Brentford.
Sunderland, Black
Team,
Cats.
sure, I'm refusing to say Everton. To be fair, I don't think Everton go down. I mean, it might be England days later, but I think as long as Moyes is in charge, they're not gonna go down. I think Moyes is too arrogant, too proud a manager to go down. I just think he.
Well, actually, he has been relegated before, but
Sunderland.
Yes, I remember that, but then I think of late, not like previously, but I think of late, it's just a bit. He's got that bit of, I think it's the. Remember when Roberto Martinez are not getting like relegated with Wigan like 3 years in a row when he should have? I think he's got that in him, that little bit of. Yeah. So now, that third team, I'll just go on a whim and say maybe Leeds, just because I just can't see them rising up to that level again, but I might be wrong. But I think I'm running out of options because I think Wolves will stay up, definitely, because I think they're too structured. I think Everton stay up as long as I got Moyes. So if I have to choose a third team, I'll say Leeds. But
actually, you don't think Sunderland aren't part of that.
I don't think Sunderland will go down, actually. I think they're doing well because they've done what Brentford have done, but they've done it in a clever way. For example, they got Shaka, which I think is a good deal, to be fair, for them. Like, it came left field. I was not expecting that, but
Goodbye.
it was a very good buy. So I think they're doing things the right way. So I think they're going to be maybe 17th, but they're not going to go down. No.
Or you, JJ?
Yeah, I think it will be Brentford. I think it will be Leeds or Sunderland or both. Oh no, Burnley. Sorry, I do think one of Leeds or one of Sunderland will manage to stay up. Whether they stay up for the next 10 years, I don't know. But I think one of them has got a chance of staying up this year. Burnley, I think, will go straight back down. I think Brentford are going to be the Premier League team that joins them, and then Leeds or Sunderland, one of the two.
All right. So to wrap up, I'm just going to look at the fixtures this coming weekend because obviously we have fixtures coming up this weekend, so I'm just loading them. Okay, so just gonna go through all of them. We've got obviously 10 fixtures every weekend, and we're just gonna start with score predictions for every game. So we're starting with the Friday game, which is Liverpool Bournemouth. I think it's a 3-0 win for Liverpool. Khush?
I'm going to say 2-1 to Liverpool.
Yeah. Rich?
Yeah, I go for 2-1 as well.
They're gonna concede. Jordan?
I think 4-0, start the season off and give them a spanking.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think Bournemouth have got nothing in the locker for
The reason I'm saying Bournemouth is going to at least score one is because they've got an all right attack with Evan Nilsson. You can never tell.
Yeah.
But
They are good.
I think you can never. I think Liverpool. This is Liverpool's to lose. If they lose this game, it's going to show some major red flags.
I think Liverpool, the Cup, home game, champions, new signings. Yeah, I think it's a wrap.
They're expected to win. So I think Bournemouth are going to come in with nothing to lose.
True. All right, moving on to what is my second favorite game of the whole weekend. My favorite being the Arsenal United one, of course, but Villa Newcastle, because I have no idea who's going to win this game. I'm going
Villa Park?
2-2.
Villa Park.
Yeah, 2-2 for me.
Villa 1-0.
Really?
Villa 2-0, yeah.
I think Newcastle 1-0 away.
Oh.
Fair.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Newcastle are stronger than Villa. I haven't seen any particular transfer business from their part that looks like they're going to bolster and be stronger. I think even with this Isak situation, I think Newcastle still get it done.
To be fair with Villa, they have lost Morgan Rogers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2-2. I think 2-2 for me. All right. Also, we'll come back next week and check this like in a segment to see we're making a leaderboard about points and all that.
Yeah.
Bonus points for the scoreline. Brighton Fulham. I think that's a narrow 2-1 win for Brighton.
I'm going to say 0-0.
Really?
I think it's going to be 1-1. I think it's going to be a boring game of 1-1.
Fair. JJ?
Part of me wants to say like Brighton edge it, but I think you might be right. It might just be even a ball draw, 0-0.
Fair. Yeah, I see that coming. And then new boys Sunderland and West Ham. Rich.
I think Rich should start this off.
Yeah, Rich is gonna start us off.
I think it'd be a 2-1 win for us personally. I just think we have too much for them.
Yeah.
Their first season, selling all them players together.
FYI, I'm gonna put Bowen in my FPL, and we're gonna talk about FPL next week. But yeah, I need him to score. I need him to score. Khush.
I want to be out there 1-0 Sunderland.
Fair. Rich does not look happy with that.
It's all right.
Yo, JJ.
I remember that.
I'd also like to see a shock Sunderland win, but I do think West Ham. I think West Ham win this one as well, 1-0.
There
Get
is
mugged off here.
absolutely no love for Rich here, but okay, we move.
Josh, what's your prediction?
I already said it.
Yeah,
I said that West Ham's gonna win this one. Maybe I did say about 1-0, 1-0. All right. Spurs, Burnley, 2-1 Spurs, I think.
2-0 Spurs.
3. I think I gotta walk all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2-0 as well.
All right. So unanimous. Wolves, Man City. That's the last game on the Saturday itself. Late kickoff. Yeah, Wolves, Man City.
Oh,
I think that's a 3-1 win for City. In my opinion. I actually.
4-0.
What am I saying?
4-0
1-0 win
City.
for City. 1-0 win for City.
4-0 to City.
Don't go rogue because West Brom. Wolverhampton has always been a bogeys team for Man
Totally.
City. So I'm going to say 2-1 Wolves. I'm going to throw it out there. Yeah.
I think I agree with 2-1 Wolves. Look, first game of the season, maybe Man City just get straight into gear. That can happen. But Wolves are a notorious bogey team for City. I'd love it to be 2-1.
That's exactly what I thought. Wolves have the ability to torment City like no other team I've seen. So yeah, that's what's going to be a 1-0 win for City. I think they're going to either 1-0 or 2-1. All right. So on the Sunday, we've got Forest and Brentford, which, like I said, I don't know who's going to win this one, but I think it's going to be Forest, maybe like a 2-1 win. Dramatic last-minute winner, I think. Morgan Gibbs-White still staying and scoring a winner, I think. I don't know. Khush?
1-0 Forest with Evangelos Marinakis pointing a gun to them. 1-0 Forest.
Yeah. I think 1-0 as well.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, 1-0 for me.
Yeah, I'd probably go 1-0, maybe 2. But yeah, I think it's a Forest win.
All right, and then Chelsea Crystal Palace. 3-1 Chelsea, in my opinion.
Can't count out Palace. I'm gonna go 2-2.
That's why.
Because Palace have got that squad. They've pulled an upset against City. They haven't actually changed their squad as much. I think they could cause a lot of problems for Chelsea.
Fair.
I think it's hard because it depends what happens to Eze, and it also depends what happens to the centre back as well, Gagey, whether he goes to Liverpool or not.
Colwell's
but-
out as well.
Yeah, I think right now it would be a 2-0 for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think to finish, I think it's either 2-0 to Chelsea or something like 2-2. I would love to. I think Palace definitely can do something. I'm leaning more towards just a Chelsea win outright, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a draw.
I've got too much of a soft spot for Crystal Palace, to be fair.
I mean, listen, I love Mateta and I love his connection with Eze. That I think that's just fantastic. But yeah, no, it's a 3-1 thing for me. They've got too much firepower. Chelsea, you've too much firepower. So yeah, I know.
I will say though, I will quickly throw it out there before we go to the next one. Is I'm surprised no one's going for Mateta in the transfer window.
Apparently,
Oh, yeah.
go for him. If we didn't get any other options, which to be fair,
Yeah.
I don't even lie to you, I wouldn't have minded.
Yeah, I think
He's
he's
a,
been
he's a
alright.
force. He's a force.
But anyway, I digress. Carry on.
Yeah, so you're right. We'll talk about that. And then the game of the weekend, we've got Arsenal versus United. Khush,
I'm not convinced with Jokeresh,
really?
but I'm convinced with their other signings, so thanks to Mendy. But I think we will edge it. I would say 1-0 United.
1-0. there'll be too many goals. But anyway, Rich,
Is it home or away for United?
United at Old Trafford.
Oh, I think it's United win them. But like, same with last season, United were poor or most of the majority of the season. But when it came to the top teams, they just had a rocket up their backside, and they just seemed to pull out a win. So I think it'd be 1-0 Man U.
I want United to win, obviously. I really want us to win. I just think I don't know what's happening with the goalkeeper situation at the moment. So we might have to start with Banter, and he's not as, good as other Premier League established goalkeepers. So that would be our weakness, I would say. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. I actually think it's going to be 2-2 draw. I want us to win, obviously, and I'll take a win. Like, I'll slap anyone for a win.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. Because Bandy at the back, there'll be that one shot he really can't get to. And
It's not going to be behind in the back. It's going to be on the back.
is he going to be back, though? I think it's still injured, is he?
No, he'll be back before the first game.
It's not like it's much better, to be honest. But
Just a guy with shorter arms.
yeah, legitimately. So hopefully we sign Donnarumma. Fingers crossed. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But yeah, and with that, we have successfully, finished the first episode of the Footy Visionaries podcast. Thank you all for joining, Khush. Lovely to have you, as always.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and Rich, thank you for joining us as well.
No dramas. Thank you for having me.
Thank you to JJ and Absentia, who had more technical issues. I'm sure you won't have them next time. But until we see each other again, goodbye for now.
Thanks for having me.